Hello there, it's me, Rama, and I am making this video to demonstrate a pull request that I'm submitting to Epic to enable you to very easily turn a series of static mesh actors into a single instanced static mesh. Now, I've done a longer video on this subject for my plugin version. This is now the editor integration, which has some additional features. So here I have three distinct static mesh actors rendering individually. I'm now going to merge them. First I'll show you. I added two new shortcut keys, two new editor commands. That's really all I'm doing. It's just these two commands: create instant static mesh from selection or revert it. This is I and shift plus I. These are the default bindings. If the pull request is accepted, that's what you'll see in the editor settings. So I'm going to select these three meshes and press the I key. Now, look, they're just one single unit now, and they can still be scaled and everything, all the normal stuff, but it's just one mesh now. Also, this thing does have collision that works correctly as a grouped mesh. So that's all UE4's code, that's all the work of all the wonderful people at UE4 to make this instant static mesh a thing. However, what I'm offering is a very easy way to be able to edit instant static meshes by converting back and forth between static mesh actor and instant static mesh very quickly. I did also add undo and redo. That's the key feature that I added to the editor version. Watch this. Everything you just saw me doing, I can go all the way back. Did you see how it said the long name there? See? Undo, redo. So you can totally go backwards and forwards just with undo and redo. Now, you can also undo it yourself manually using Shift plus I if you come back to the editor later. So let's say I created them like this, and press the I key. Now they're just one unit, right? But let's say, and let's just go verify the collision, because collision matters. Well, it's too short, but oh well. You can, I have to see this, come on thing. Oh, see. Oh, look, it works. So like, you see that? So, but let's say you come back to the editor later and like, oh man, I need to adjust one of the rocks in my instance. You just press Shift plus I. Once it's actually selected, press Shift plus I, and now you have instant, you have them back to individual meshes. You can adjust it, and then you can recreate them all into one again, pressing the I key. So these are all the core features of the editor integration. That's on GitHub. If you wish to support it, you can sign into your GitHub account and add your support, or add support in the forums, and then you'll be able to do this. Now I want to demonstrate the extreme usefulness of instant static mesh actors. Alright, so I've prepared a demonstration, and if I wasn't recording, my FPS would be max right now. Now when I look toward this massive structure I've made, FPS goes down into the 40s or so. Now when I go in game, this is about 6,000 cubes, by the way. This is static mesh actors still. UE4 is really strong. Now my FPS gets a little upset now when I go in game like this. My other video shows lower FPS than this, and then the improvement that comes from the static mesh actors instance. But I don't really have time to test the full might of UE4 right now because I'm in a hurry. But this is actually a pretty fun structure, by the way. check this out. There's like nice little places to go. I can actually get back out. I can climb on here, jump around. So these are all individual static mesh actors, but notice, I think you saw it just for a little bit there, FPS is not at 120, that's for sure. Again, this is a fabulous performance by UE4 with all these individuated static mesh actors. However, I can help you make it even better. So you can truly make very large worlds out of all these little cubes that people like to make nowadays. So here's this massive structure. I'm going to take all these cubes, I'm going to highlight them all. Remember the I key? Remember? We're going to turn them all into one. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go! FPS is down to 20s. Now, got rid of all those actors. They're not even in the level anymore. There's actually only one actor now that replaces all of them. It's this instant static mesh actor, right? Now, if I go in game, no, not like that. Let's go in game. Or let's just try to aim better. Let's see. Pick a spot and then hope. that works. Alright, so I made that click right there. Nope, okay, fine. Let's go find the player start. Player start. Haha, I think. Oh, I added a lot of player starts at some point. I think they're all hitting each other. Here, let's put this thing all the way up on high. I was duplicating stuff a lot and I duplicated player starts. Let's just go close this. Alright, so now notice how the FPS is back up to 100. We were down in the 50s before. Now the FPS is back up to 100 or so. Now if I wasn't recording, my FPS would be max right now. So think about what this means for UE4 and making, cube-like worlds or worlds with a whole lot of the same mesh that you can then instance like this. Using this editor feature I'm providing you with as a pull request, you can make really massive worlds now. Between all the improvements that Epic has been making to static mesh rendering and then now this that I'm showing you, you can really make worlds like what you're seeing in this video, and my FPS would be max if I wasn't recording. I think this is pretty neat. Like, look at this fun little, you couldn't always do this, but now you can. Now, remember, you can also undo this procedure. So I'm going to, let's see, I'm gonna keep the floor. I want to select all of these. So let's open, alright, world outlining. So I'm gonna undo this. Ready? I'm gonna press Shift I. That was from my previous video segment. So now all those actors came back, they're all back, it's a completely reversible process, and let's say that I wanted to just make this top row of cubes bigger, and asymmetrically longer, right? So you can come back in and edit this structure anytime. Now notice the performance is not quite as happy anymore, because now there's all these actors again. So let's go find that player start. Alright, so again, if we go in game like this, and we fall in that hole. If we go in game like this, notice how the FPS is no longer at that 100 it was at before, it's definitely lower. It's still pretty fabulous. But if you have other game mechanics going on that take up FPS, you could quickly fall below 30 under this current arrangement, because this is just the template character. So notice the FPS is no longer at max. Now, we're down in the 50s. Now, select all of these actors again. Static, static, and we don't want the floor. Don't want the floor. Come on, floor. Alright, so now I have all of these static mesh actors selected. It's kind of hard to move. Press the I key. This is part of the GitHub editor integration that I'm offering you in Epic. Now, go in game. Again, the selection feature still drags FPS more. So all the edges. No, not that way. This way. Alright, now look! FPS is much higher than it was before. I have to close this scene out now. It's missing it. Alright. Now, look. I don't like jumping around and stuff. Now we got a significant FPS advantage from creating that bunch of static mesh actors. Alright, I'm back in the hundreds now, as before I was hitting 50s. And that concludes my demonstration, but check out those worlds. This is actually pretty fun. I want to go find stuff. Imagine if there's power-ups. This is kind of Mario-esque or something really entertaining. But this whole world is feasible now between all of the UE4 static mesh rendering improvements and then also the system I'm presenting to you. And remember, as I showed you, that was the point of the second demonstration, you can go back in and edit this anytime and then recreate it. So that is my instanced static mesh actor pull request. Again, if it gets accepted, you'll just be going to check out keyboard shortcuts, instanced, and you'll see these two button presses right here. You just bind them if they're not bound, or if their bindings might have changed, find out what they are, and then you can create your own instance static meshes like this and massively boost your performance for huge numbers of static mesh actors. Enjoy!